and let me introduce you to our lead designer, Andy Grove.
Hey Andy, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Andy, you've been with AudioNote for quite some time now.
I've known Peter for roughly 26 years now, 25, 26 years.
Most of what we hear in AudioNote equipment comes from your brain and your genius.
Well, at least some of it does.
Yeah.
I'm the one who does a lot of the electronic design and the research into materials technology, which is the kind of the physics of the basics of it.
I see.
I'm sort of using some of the equipment like this. As you can see, we're making an experiment on a transformer here. Just some measurements, there's an FFT of it. This is the kind of thing, this is an Audio Precision APX 555 with all the options. It's about as good as you can get. Well,
yeah, that's the top of the market, I think.
Absolute top of the market. There's nothing else which comes anywhere near to it in performance. Even the Rohde & Schwarz is just not as, it's good, but not the same. So, you know, we do some, a lot of measurements. Everything's validated by measurement to make sure it works. I mean, something is down to, or some part of that is down to interpretation, of course, of what the measurement means, because we're not looking for pure, necessarily, and absolutely, for example here, you know, second, third harmonics here. Maybe if you were designing a transistor amp, you want to see them down here, but this is just a straight transformer. And you can see some of the harmonics, and what we're looking for this one is so that we can identify the core material from these harmonics and then use that in the QC department, in the test department, so we can verify that we've got the right core material in the transformer when it comes to final test. But it's also used a lot for research, whatever it is we might be working on, because you can see the difference between this core material, which is silicon steel, or we may have this stuff, which is our really high-end thing, which is 55% nickel iron, which is very, very much more expensive. And this material, this is a general purpose, if you like, it's the highest form of it, though, silicon steel, which we get from the Far East. Okay. Nobody in the US or Europe makes this to the specifications, only the Japanese and Koreans do. But this material is an audio-specific development which we made at AudioNote. So it's a 55% nickel iron, which is actually made in Germany, but then it's processed in Turkey according to a heat treatment which we iterated with the Turkish factory in order to make an audio-specific core material.
How about that?
Yeah. So, for example, you know, if we were to measure the distance between these two, you would see some difference here on there, which it makes it identifiable, but that doesn't always correlate to the difference in sound, in texture or colour or whatever you might hear when it's used in the transformer. But at least we can try to sort of get some kind of understanding of what's happening. You can see between the distortion or whatever it might be, hysteresis loop or something. But yeah, I mean, everything.
This is it. Yeah, everything is done here, and you have an office across the way that has, I saw, two big, large monitors. You do a lot of design work over there.
I do model, you know, because I do a lot of other things other than just designing. You know, I'm sort of general technical dog's body as well. And any questions that come, if they're too difficult to answer, I can operate this via remote desktop down in my office. So I can plug in here and then sit in my office and.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah.
Just sit there and take measurements. Everybody see I'm staring at the monitor.
What's that guy doing over there?
Yeah, looking at the internet. Well, I'm not actually. Usually, quite often, looking at something like this over there. I can just drive the Audio Precision from the other side of the building.
How about that?
So yeah, in the office it will be. I use Spice modelling for all kinds of things. You know, depending on what we're looking at. Sometimes, you know, we're working on DA converters, or it could be a power supply or anything, or even some valve models I make up, you know, and model that. And there's also a lot of research done just to find, for example, you know, if you want a core material or something from somewhere, which in Japan, there's a lot of communication going back and forth, trawling the internet, reading data sheets, and that all happens in there in the office. When it comes to building, it's dark. I myself are in here making experiments, and it's a bit of a mess sometimes.
It's quite an operation here. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can see these new kind of products.
we looked at. We had a camera took a look at these just a moment ago. Yeah.
But this one, this is not really formed. It's like it's a pure concept at the moment. It may drastically change over time, but this is a kind of you know, a mock-up of what we're looking at is it's actually it's quite a good mock-up because it's in two parts, which is how this will be built. The power supply will be in the bottom, and then the amps unit will be on the top. I mean, this is to represent the grill. You can see the parts inside, but we're not really, you know, anywhere near completing that. It's going to be called the Ultra 212 alpha valve and the 205D probably as in and out, and basically we'll just do every single thing we can possibly think of to it within reason. I mean, you can go on forever and build an amplifier the size of, you know, a warehouse if you wanted, but this has got to go in somebody's listening room. But it's essentially based on the Gaku on Gaku, that kind of series of amplifiers, the transformer coupling, but we just go all the way with the power supply and everything like that. It might end up bigger, smaller.
How cool is that, viewers? Yeah.
I mean, this one is a little bit different. I mean, you can. Oh, so if I just go back and see some of the rendering there, it's here we've got marble and copper, and you know, maybe that would be titanium or something, whatever it might be. This one. This is actually a mock-up of a real thing. We have orders for this, and there's you know, you can see the rendering here, what it's going to really look like. The plans that we were discussing, Simon. And a long-standing friend of mine, Simon Langham, he was one of the guys, I don't know if you know these funky vacuum cleaners from Dyson. Well, he designed all those. He worked with Quad and Wharfdale with me 20 years ago, and we've got back together again to work on these two products.
Oh, so you guys collaborated on that?
Simon's pretty switched on. But what this is, what we're working on here is this one's going to be called the Legend, and like I said, we already have orders for this. We're taking a commission, but the concept of this unit is to have to use some of these NOS valves which are rare. For example, this one is for the DA100, which is an old British tube, but it could be also for 845s which aren't made anymore, or you know, NOS with RCA 845, or whatever the customer wants, for 300Bs, anything. It's for customers of a private collection of
a lot of them do.
So that means that we can then configure it just to make a small batch. It could be 10, 20 pieces, 1, 2, whatever, even one. And the way it works, you can take these sort of cardboard, imagine these are where the transformers would go. Inside, it's fully modular, so this plate can be moved to here, this one can be moved to there, we can turn it round, they can take this plate out in, redesign everything. Essentially, but based on a common or several common power supplies. One which gives us about 1,200 volts, maybe. Another one maybe 400. Another one 300 for 2A3. So one 450, 500 for 300B, PX25, that kind of thing. And then an even bigger one, which maybe we use for the 212, maybe 1,500, 1,600, 2,000 volts. So that, or you know, maybe more.
That's a huge number. That's a heart stopper.
Yeah, so it would be, so there'd be three different sizes of this chassis. This one is for the 100 watt kind of class valves, DA100, 211, those sort of things. There'll be a smaller one which is for 300B and those types, 2A3, that sort of thing. And then one's going to be a bit bigger to take the 212. But the idea of it is, like I said, is modularity, but it is going to have an extra level of finishing and fine tailoring, if you like.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So this on this one for this customer, because the guy sponsors an Asian racing team, it's actually Bentley. So in order to give some kind of a nod to that for his special one, we're probably going to use some titanium here, and we're trying to get what's called a diamond-like carbon coating onto the titanium, which gives this kind of black, very sophisticated look. I mean, it will look even better in the flesh. I've seen this. Again, it's copper. The idea is that it looks like an Audionode piece.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it has that look.
This is a bit alien, isn't it?
Yeah, that does look a little odd. Yeah.
This is definitely an Audionode product. It looks like one, but it's just another level above. And rather than, we have taken commissions before, we did make a kind of a version of this, if you like, for a Greek customer, which I've just been to see. and we made a special one-off unit, but it was because it was specially made and the chassis was machined, it just went on and on and on to create the development for it. And if a customer wants, you know, one or two pieces and want to be able to sell these things or be able to turn it around quickly, then this is going to be better because we'll have the basic parts will be in stock, and then it will just be a case of machining the front or the middle and then reconfigure.
Yeah, depending upon the tube he wants to use.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, obviously the transformers have to be custom wound. The outer transformer, or the mains transformer, will be custom made for the voltage, but generally it'll be within 400 volts, or a lot of them work on there, 350 volts, so 1200. They're all within groups, so we don't have to do a complete redesign from the ground up every time somebody wants that. I've got 5 pieces of such and such. Well, we can make you an amp, and it would take say it would take 3 months or 4 months or something like that, rather than 18. So that's the idea with this. And like I said, it's called the Legend because it's going to work with all these legendary.
The legendary tubes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Some of them, there are only a handful of them left in the world.
Yeah, that's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, you designed the Gakko I have at my listening room, and the sound is it just draws you into the music, and that's what it's all about. And I think you're one of the top designers, if not the top designer in the world today, of vacuum tube amplifiers. So thank you very much. It's really, really good to meet you and have the viewers meet you. Andy Grove from Audio Note.